welcome everyone into Salesforce Apex Hour. So today we are going to present this integration with SSIS with Salesforce, and today's speaker is Jitendra Jha. So he's going to present like how we can integrate the Salesforce with SSIS. And my name is Amit Chaudhary. So I'm a co-organizer of Salesforce Farmington Salesforce Developer Group. And apart from that, like I'm a Salesforce MVP and active on developer community, and I'm also active blogger on amitsalesforce.blogspot.in. So today's speaker is Jitendra Jha. So let me hand over to him.
Thank you, Amit, for the introduction. Hey everyone, my name is Jitendra Jha, and thank you so much for joining this session. I know everybody have a different time zone. So good morning, good evening, as per your time zone. I am a senior technical architect right now in Blue Wolf, or you can say IBM. And I'm an author of Apex Design Pattern book. If you have not read, I would suggest to go ahead and read if you are intermediate programmer or beginning your career in Salesforce. For advanced developer, you might like few lessons, but not much. You can follow me on my Twitter. I have my blog as well. And I hope that today's session is going to be exciting and we all will learn something new together. So let's see what is the agenda for today. So we would be talking about exactly what is ETL tool. You must have heard a lot about ETL tool, or you might have already worked on a lot of other ETL tools as well. I would go ahead with introduce an SSIS, then followed by the COZYROC. How do we connect Salesforce and SSIS? And I will say most of the session today, again, like all of my previous session, is mostly going to be hands-on. I would be doing everything up front. We would be having some demo on create, retrieve, update, and delete scenario. I would be particularly touching up the attachment section, that how we can download an attachment from Salesforce, how we can upload an attachment to the Salesforce. And the last section of today's meeting is we would be talking about two best practices of SSIS. One is logging and another is like configuration. And that would be followed by the Q&A. So let's start with ETL tool. Exactly what is ETL? So ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. And I have referred, this is actually on my blog post as well, very old blog, I guess 2011 or 12. So let's touch base on what exactly is an extraction. So as the name suggests, we can get data from any kind of the sources. One source, multiple source. Source can be website, it can be database management system, can be some cloud solutions like Microsoft Dynamics, like Salesforce. It can be file system, it can be web service, can be Excel sheet, can be CSV file. So basically what ETL does is you get a data from any source you want, and then you nourish that data, you transform that data, cleans the data, perform some deduplication, add some column, remove some column, make sure that the data is in the format which you need it. So those kind of the things you can do in a transformation stage. And as per, I will say, industry best practices, there are a lot of different versions of ETL process. So if you have attended my previous meeting in the same Apex hours where we talk about Salesforce Analytics Wave, that was actually ETLE. So we do extraction, we do transformation before loading, and sorry, ETLT. We do we load the data inside Salesforce Analytics, and then we do transformation again in the Salesforce Analytics. So comparative to that, this is just an ETL. The process will stop when you do the loading. Now the data can be loaded back in Salesforce. It can be SharePoint. It can be any other. Just like an extraction, there could be multiple different types of sources. In the loading stage, there would be many different type of targets. So if anyone have any question like previous meetings, keep posting your question. Whenever I get a chance, I will answer it, or I will have the question at the end of the meeting. So let's go ahead and try to understand what exactly is SSIS. So the full form of SSIS basically is SQL Server Integration Services. And whatever the development we do in a Visual Studio. So that's what I'm going to use today. Now, extraction and loading can be done on n number of systems. So it can, like I said in the previous slide, extraction can be done from Salesforce, it can be done from web services, can be from Excel sheet, can be from CSV, can be from the pipe delimited flat file, and those kind of stuff. Now there are some other ETL tools. Actually, it's a typo. It's not an SSIS tool. It's a ETL tool. So there are some other ETL tools available in the market, and you might have heard about that. So two of my favorite other ETL tool other than SSIS is Talent and Pentaho. Now both are the open source. Both works very well in Salesforce. Works very well with Salesforce. Now, in today's session, the most of the ETL transformations we would be doing on Designer, which is a SSIS Designer, and you would not really need a code until you have a very complex kind of requirement, and the data is like say you have a rich text data, HTML data. Now you want to convert that HTML data to the text data. Now the SQL Server 2016 onwards have inbuilt feature, so you don't have to worry about. But let's say if you have old database where there is no native solution available to convert rich text to normal text, you might need a help of little bit of coding. Now one of the advantage, if you are a .NET programmer or you know how the .NET works, so there is a common language CLI, so there are like around 20 to 22 programming languages supported by Visual Force or Visual Studio, like C#, VB, F#, whatever the programming language you like, just go ahead, use that script and plug it in SSIS. Now, the tool which we are going to use in today's session is Visual Studio, SQL Server, and COZYROC. Now, Visual Studio and SQL Server you can download as a developer as a free from Microsoft website. All you have to do is create your web developer account, like just I did. So whatever the tool I'm using today, I downloaded it free of cost from Microsoft website. If you're a Mac user and you don't want to install SQL Server, you don't want to install Visual Studio, you can go on Amazon AWS and spin up your virtual machine just in few seconds. So there is another option if you like to use everything on a Mac system. So let's go on COZYROC. What exactly is the COZYROC? So all I have explained is what is SSIS, but one component in SSIS is, like I said, extraction and the loading can be done on n number of systems. Salesforce is one of them. Unfortunately, SSIS does not support Salesforce connection out of the box. So what you have to do is either you have to create your own plugin, which will take a lot of time, or you can choose some of the connectors available in the market. And one of the connector which I like is a COZYROC. Now COZYROC is very low cost SSIS component or connector. And if you are doing any data migration project, let's say, now for the data migration project, we have a lot of other options. We have Jitterbit, we have dataloader.io, works very well if you don't have enterprise client. But let's say if you have enterprise client, sometimes dataloader.io is not approved. Jitterbit has its own cost associative, or free version is also available. Some of the time, most of the time, client will have a lot of transformation requirement, and that's where COZYROC fits in. So COZYROC, I mean, again, don't take my word, but I think it costs around 300 to 500 somewhere in between for a year. And if you are doing a data migration project, and if you have your timeline already decided, you will also get a 30-day trial version, which is more than sufficient to perform all your data migration tasks. So you can just download the COZYROC, use it for the 30-day, and that's it, if you don't want to buy it. The support of the COZYROC is really very good. So let's say you stuck somewhere, you are getting some runtime error or something, just contact them, call them, and the response time is very quick. Good support. So let's go ahead and directly jump on demo. So that's all the slides I have now. No more slide, and all hands on. So what I will do is I will open Visual Studio. I already have Visual Studio installed on my system. So let me open it. Same time I will log into my one of the developer account. So let me see which developer account should I use. Let me use this one. And let me know if anyone have any question. I will have it here. Okay, perfect. So this is a Visual Studio. I just like 2-3 days back I downloaded it from again Microsoft Developer Network. Let me create a new project. So this is the basics. Let's say you have a new Visual Studio. Assumption is you already have SQL Server installed. So let me open my SQL Server here. Now, when we are extracting a data from Salesforce, we can extract a data in Excel sheet. We can extract in CSV file. You don't necessarily need to have SQL Server. But yeah, I like to use SQL Server. So this is SQL Server running on my system. I'm just connecting to the SQL Server. It's taking some time. So meanwhile, the SQL Server is getting connected. What I will do is I will create a new SSIS project. So what I can do is file, new project. So what you have to do is you have on the left side, you see the business intelligence. So in the business intelligence, you have to go on integration services and click on the integration services project, and you can give it a demo. I will say Apex Saturday. And that's it. And let me see if SQL Server is successfully, okay, it cannot connect. Okay, let me see. It might be possible that my SQL Server is switched off. Let me, because otherwise what it will do is it will eat up my memory, system's memory. So sometimes I make it in manual mode. So I'm starting my SQL Server now. So it's running. Let me start this one. Let me start this one. So now SQL Server is running. So when you install SQL Server, there are options available that do you want to automatically run SQL Server every time you start the system. Of course, I don't really use SQL Server every time I start my system. So just so that SQL Server should not impact a performance on my system, I make a startup of the SQL Server as a manual. So now I have started SQL Server manually. I can simply go and connect it. So successfully I'm able to connect to my SQL Server now, and let's see how many databases we have. So I have one database. Let me create a new database here for today's session, and the database name would be, again, I will say Apex Saturday. So now I have a database here. This database does not have any table, and we will create a table slowly in today's demo. So now here I am. So my package name is package DTSX. What I will do is I will rename this package as a read. So where is rename? I will say SFDC read. So what we are going to do is we are going to, let's say, so just like a data loader, if we want to extract the information from Salesforce, we use a data loader, we select an object, we select which field we need to bring, exactly same way I'm going to do. So let's get habitual of what exactly the IDE looks like. So this is a Visual Studio. On the left, you see the SSIS toolbox. So basically it will give you all the component. Now in my case, I have COZYROC already installed, so there would be some COZYROC related as well. So I will go on again. So the first step is we have to go to the data flow task. Data flow task is the most of the task in SQL Server which you used, and you can rename the data flow task. I will say read Salesforce contact, and then what I will do, I double click there. So if you see SSIS toolbox got changed, so just think about what we have to do. So what we have to do is first we have to read a contact from Salesforce. So now see the best part, if in most of your project you might be in the requirement saying that okay, we need to connect to the SharePoint, we need to connect to the SAP, we need to connect to Microsoft Dynamics. So if you see on the left side, there are n number of ways you can connect to the system. You can connect to the Sage, you connect to the Salesforce, you connect to the SharePoint. Here if you see ClickView, Oracle, lot of options available here. You can connect to the Sugar CRM as well, and most of the connector is coming from the COZYROC. So what I will do is I will drag and drop. So again, I'm not going to do any coding today. All I would be doing is drag and drop. So let's see. So what I just did is I drag and drop the SQL source, double click here. Now in order to use any source or the destination, you have to have a connection. So if you see this section, connection manager, right now this connection manager is blank. Either I can right click here and I can create whatever connection I want to make, or I can go here, double click, and now the connection is not appearing because I don't have any connection. So keep watching what exactly happens here. So I'm saying, okay, let's create a new connection. Now you will remember it's just like data loader configuration. All you have to do is provide your username and password of Salesforce instance, and you have to say, so my username is this. I have my password. And if you go on advanced, it will tell you what is a login. So let's say if you have my domain enabled, or let's say you want to use a test.salesforce.com, you can do it and you can assign it there. So I will simply go back on server. I will see if the test connection is successful. The connection is successful, and you can see the message is from the COZYROC SSIS. I will say okay, okay. Now in the connection section here, you see the Salesforce connection manager 1 is appearing, and here also one connection got. So there is either way you can create a connection. Either you go by this place, or you can go here, and then you can reuse this connection in throughout the package. So what I want to do is I want to, let's say, extract the contact. So I will go and see contact. So one question is, does it support a Google Sheet? So I don't think, okay, let me see. First contact, okay. So the question is, does it support the Google Sheet? Let me see. I have not tried it. I am not sure. We need to go on the COZYROC website and see. So let's see. Let's go here and say COZYROC Google Sheet. Yep, we can. So this is the COZYROC website. All you have to do is use the REST connection, and see, that's the best part about the COZYROC, which I like. They have a very good documentation, and it will give you the video demos and everything, how to do the stuff. So to answer your question, GAG, Google Sheet is supported. So let's go back here. So what we said that, okay, we want to extract the contact. The best part is you can also write an SQL query here, like, okay, select ID, comma, first name, last name from contact, where some condition. Right now, I don't want to go into that detail. Now, all you have to do is you have to select what column you want to extract. So right now, this is all the columns. So let's have as it is. I'm not going to change anything here. I'm say, okay. So now what just happened is we just tell SSIS, we just inform SSIS that, okay, extract the information from Salesforce. So that's the E part. Okay. Now we are not going to do any transformation in the ETL tool, ETL. So I'm skipping T now. Now let's load this information back in our SQL server. So now as you can see, this is my SQL server. This server does not have any table right now. So what I will do now is, so there are a lot of component available here. I will go on the destination section and I will say drag and drop ADO.NET here, connect it here like this. Go back here. Now again, I have SQL. If you see this connection manager section, I have connection to the Salesforce, but I don't have a connection to the SQL server. Again, two options. You go here, right click or create, or I can simply go here and I can create a new connection. Now it is saying that I already have a local host Bluewolf demo. I will say no, I need a new because our database is different. And I will say server name is my local host. Let's say it will take some time. So this is my my system name. Now database, I have two databases. I will select Apex Saturday and that's it. Perfect. So I have Apex Saturday now. I'm saying, okay, I need to select this. Now the thing is, I don't have any table available here. So what I will say, so here is the best part about the SSIS. You don't have to be a SQL wizard here. You just click on new and it will automatically create all the columns needed. And the question is, how does the SSIS know that, okay, these are the columns we want to save? It is because of the arrow which we drag and drop here. So all I would be doing here is I would be renaming the table to SFDC contact, SFDC underscore contact. Okay, mapping, it's the one-on-one mapping. So you see the input column, this is coming from Salesforce. Destination column, this is the SQL Server column. And that's okay. Awesome, let's save it. And fingers crossed, let's run it. So what we are doing is we are going to read the contact from Salesforce to the database. The best part is you really don't need to have SQL Server as a destination. 37 rows was fetched here. So let's stop this. Go back on SQL Server, refresh it. And if you see, this table automatically got created. We have not created it. Let's run a query here. And I will simply run an SQL query, select star from, let's execute it. That's it. So here you see, you got all the information, account, you got all this information, whatever we've pulled out. Oh, someone is doing, okay. Someone is writing on my screen. So, I mean, do you know how to clear this writing on from my screen? Anyone?
I guess this is from your screen. Control should you have only. So nobody is doing that. So what I'm able to see. So something you can only control.
Let me see how I can clear it. Okay, I'm disabling the, actually it's a participant annotation. So I have just disabled the participation annotation. And okay, I got it. So it was actually from some participation. There is a setting here. Okay, perfect. Clean. So we just finished. So let's get back. Okay, so we just finished how we can extract the information from Salesforce. It's that easy. Let's see how we can update the information. So before updating the information, let me go back here. And let me try to open a contact object here. Contacts. And what I will do basically is let's update this record. Let's update this record. So this record has some value here. So let's say this is the value. And what I will do basically here is, and let's see what exactly is the first name here. First. So here is the name. Should be having first name. So let's say the department. Let's try to change the department actually. So department right now, if you see here, okay, here, procurement, cancel. So this is the department procurement. What I will do is I will change the department to finance. So let's try to change. So let's assume that this SQL server is your backend. Let's say it's a civil system or something, and they are changing some information. So what I will say, update SFDC, update table SFDC, set department equals to finance, where I will say record ID, right? Record ID, actually ID, where ID equals to this. So one row got changed. So what I will do now, let's try to see. So if I run again, execute this query, and if I go on here, so department. Okay, anyways, I can simply run a query. So I will say select star from contact. In fact, I will say select department and then star where. Execute. So department changed to finance, and let's see how we can do changes in Salesforce using the same connector. So I will go back here. I will create a new package, and I will rename this package as SFDC update. Same way, I will go back on the data flow, and I will say update contact. Here, now this time the source is SQL Server. So what we will do is, we say adu.net is a source. We don't have a connection here because we connected connection in the other package. So we have to create a connection again. I'm selecting this. And this time, I don't want to select the table because there are so many rows in the table. What I will do is, I will write an SQL command. So let's write an SQL command here, department, comma, ID. So this would be my command from SFDC contact. If I try to run, it's only two column appearing, department and ID, because I don't really need other column. So what I'm saying is, in this SQL Server Apex Saturday, run this SQL command, and then I will go on column. It is showing me department and ID column, only two columns we are fetching right now, and say okay. Then, so this is again, we have extracted information from SQL Server. Now let's load it into the Salesforce. And again, the another thing is, we have updated only one department. So just to make it more clarify, you can again add a condition here, something like this, where ID equals to this. It's up to, I mean, it's again depend, but let's make it this, so that we are updating only one record, but you can update all the records as well, though that's fine. Now I will go on the Salesforce destination. Now this time the Salesforce is acting as a destination. Just again, drag and drop. And I will say update contact. Now again, if you see, the Salesforce connection is not here. So you can, so let's try to create a connection this time from here. So I say new connection, and see if we have SFDC somewhere. So this is a Salesforce. Add it here. Again, the username is same. test connection. Perfect. Okay, go back here. And we are saying that select this connection which we just created. And we are saying we are not going to create this time, we are going to update, and we are going to update the contact this time. Again, the same, that it's here. Now the mapping, so it's already mapped the column. If we see the so department is mapped to the department, so this is good, and ID is mapped to the ID, so this is also good. So mapping is done. Now sometimes it happens when we try to perform some operation in Salesforce, it might fail because of some error. So let's try to capture the log. So in order to capture the log, now log can be saved anywhere. Again, it can be saved in SQL Server, it can be saved in some Excel sheet, some CSV file. So just to make it simple, what I will do is I will still save the log again in SQL Server. So just drag and drop, and you have to select as a redirect row in error, and just go here, Apex. Now we don't have any table for the log, so what I will do is I will create a table name as SFDC contact, SFDC contact log. That's it. Go on mapping. Mapping is already done automatically on the basis of name. Save it and let's run it. So basically, let's go back on Salesforce. Department is procurement. Again, I will reload it. It's not finance. If everything successfully runs, this department should be finance. Let's go back. Again, this is very basic usage of the COZYROC and SSIS. I have run a project, very complex projects, and pretty impressive success rate. So if I go back here, if I refresh the table, so there are two things. First, let's see if the log table got created. So I will run a command, select star from. I see the log table is here. Let's run it. So error code -1 means it's a success. Department has been updated as a finance. But let's go and check by ourselves. And here we go. It's a finance, and if you see, it's a last modify. It's just right now 9:35 a.m. So that's it from so these are all the basics. So we did able to read the information from Salesforce. We are able to update it. So what I will do is I will do to a little bit more advanced topic. So before that, let me see if anyone have any question. So I see from if some fields were deleted from contact object in Salesforce, do I need to choose contact again, do this process again? Very good question, Greg. So the question here is, if let's say some field got deleted from contact, do we really need to refresh it? So the answer depends on which field you're talking. So let's say you deleted field ABC from contact, and that ABC field is being used in your process. Then the answer is yes, you have to refresh your mapping and everything. But let's say field got deleted and you are not using that field in your process, not in update, not in extract, then you don't have to do any operation. You don't have to perform anything here. So the question from Sonali, why do we use talent over COZYROC? Visual Studio SQL Server considering the so Sonali's question, let me see, why do we use a talent? So right now I am not suggesting to use a talent. This demo is completely about the COZYROC. And again, I guess the question is, why do we use a Visual Studio? Why do we use an SSIS? Why do we use a COZYROC if we can simply go and use a talent? I will say the answer is completely depending on the situation. There are many clients where I have worked, they really don't want any open source inside their network. I mean, the big companies, they really don't trust on open source. I mean, there is not a culture in their company for the open source. They are like big Microsoft partner, they are big SAP partner. So sometimes you have to go with the flow of what tool available with the client. In my case, Most of the time client is a Siebel client, Microsoft Dynamics client. They already have a Visual Studio, they already have an SQL server. All is needed is a COZYROC connector, that's all. But again, if cost is the factor where you think that client is not going to approve all these tools and everything, of course the answer would be like something like Talend or Pentaho. Now the question from Ajay, what if field data type changes? Very good, Ajay. So the same answer of the delete answer, if field data type changes, and let's say you are referring that field in your SSIS package, you have to update your package. So my question to everybody now, how do we export attachment from Salesforce? Anyone? Easiest way to export attachment other than weekly export? How do you export?
We can do with the CLI.
But perfect, very good. You can do with the CLI, you can do with the data loader as well, right? But the content, would you be able to save the content as a file itself, or the content is saved as a column in CSV? So
we can.
Exactly, right? So let's try to search something on internet. Okay, Salesforce export attachment. Okay, so dataloader.io, not necessarily all company will agree with this. Okay, and how do I export all attachment? Let's try to say, and let's see. Okay, so the answers here is, right, you see the long answer here. Okay, and so clearly it shows that how painful it is. I see some bat file you have to create, something you have to do. If I go back on this, is there a way to download from Salesforce opportunity, right? People is talking about, okay, you have to use this tool, you have to use like file exporter or something, right? So answer is yes, it is possible. There are hundreds of ways to do it, but the question is there any simpler way to do it? Okay, so let's see how we can export attachment using SSIS without any code in a simpler way. So let's see. So what I will do now is I will create a new package again. So everybody understand, right, that why I'm dealing with attachment, because attachment is something in the data loader process always have some trickiness. I'm not saying it's not possible. Of course, there are multiple ways to do it, but let's see how simple it is with the help of SSIS and the COZYROC. So what I will do is I will create a new SSIS package again, and let me rename it as download attachment. If anyone wants me to go back and do some steps repeatedly, please let me know. Okay, I'm happy to go back on any step which if you think you missed it. And before that, let me erase some more annotations I see on my screen. Perfect. So again, we will start with the data flow. So if you see, we have a control flow tab, we have a data flow tab. I only end up with only one control flow, which is a data flow task. So no worries, I will say download attachment. Okay, double click here, I automatically came to the data flow task. Again, this time the source is going to be Salesforce. So I'm saying, okay, this is the Salesforce source. Again, we have to create a connection here with my Salesforce instance. Go here and I will say, see, the thing is, you will never know when you end up using an SSIS. I used SSIS in 2008. Then I used an SSIS in 2011. Then I recently used an SSIS in 2018. So you never knows when these kind of technique will come in handy. There are a lot of tool available in the market, lot of way you can do it, but it's always good to know the options. So what we are planning to do is export an attachment. Let me search for attachment RST here, and I go on column, I'm saying, okay, let's export everything. That's perfect. Now what we are going to do is, now the content of attachment is coming as a column. Now we want to save it in some location. So let's say I want to save in this folder. Okay. So what we have to do is, now the number of, if you see the columns, we get name, body, all the column we got it, but we don't have any column where we want to save the body. So body is actually the content of our attachment. Very good. Where, how do we save it? So to save it, I need a one column. I wished if there is one column which will say where I need to save in my folder. So what I will do is, so now actually we are going to do some transformation. So we did so out of ETL, we did E and we did L. First time we are going to do some transformation. So I need to add actually column here. So let me see. We need to first we need to have a derive column here. Derive. Let me see. Derive column. Let me go at the top. So I don't see any derive column here. So I'm searching for the component here named as a derived column that I'm going to use. Let me see. Data. Yeah, this one. So this is the column I'm going to use. So basically what it does is, it's like a bucket field, if you know, in Salesforce reporting. On the fly, I am adding one more column. And I'm saying that, okay, let's create, I will saying the column name is local file path. I'm saying it is going to be a new column. And now we have to tell the format. So I'm going to say, let's create a column in this drive, C users, then the desktop, COZYROC Saturday, attachments. So what I'm saying here basically is, we need to export all the attachment in this folder. And after that, I want them to create a one more column name as ID. And then I'm saying in ID, create a file. And file basically is name here already. So I can go here on the column. So this is the all column available to us. And that's the name. And let's see why I'm getting an error. Maybe this. Perfect. So what I just did is, Salesforce is giving me some columns. So these are all the columns Salesforce gave me. And then I created one column on fly. And this is the transformation. Basically, there are a lot of ways to do the transformation. And the new column name is local file path. So what basically it is doing is it is calculating a path here. So attachment folder would be having an ID folder, and those ID would be actually the record IDs, and that would be the column names. Actually, I did some mistake here. I don't want an ID column basically. I want it as a parent ID column. So parent ID, exactly. So what I will do is, I will change it to, because this ID is attachment ID. Now every attachment will be having their own folder. I don't want that. So I want parent ID column. So let's see how exactly it works. So now once it is done, what we need to do is, we want to export the column. So in order to export the column, there is one more transformation. So now we have a content of the column here. We have the path of the column here. All we need to do is save the column now. So if you go here, you see the export column transformation here. I just drag and drop here. and I'm saying that we need to extract the body and it has to be saved in local file path. So this local file path is the column which we derived on fly. I'm saying let's truncate it, force truncate. Okay. And let's say, okay. Now I also want to save this column information in my SQL server. So what I will do is I will create an edu.NET destination here. And I'm saying let's use Epic Saturday database. I'm saying create a new table, and I'm saying let's create a table name as SFDC underscore attachments. And I really don't want body to be saved because body is already saved anyways on the folder. So I'm just removing the body here. I go back on mapping, everything seems pretty good. Okay, and let's see. So I'm running, so what exactly we are doing, we are extracting every attachment from Salesforce in actual file format, not as a column in a CSV file or something. Let's see. So this is the folder we have. If everything goes good, every record would be created, every parent record would be having a folder, and that folder would be having an attachments. There, okay, I guess attachment size is big, and even my what I say batch size is larger. That is so I see some error here. I guess I know what is the error. Let me see. Progress. Yeah, so basically the problem is happening is the attachment folder does not have the ID folder in it, and that's why it is giving me an error. I was expecting it. So the error basically is attachment does not have any subfolder, and directly it is not able to create a folder. There is a way to do, but what I will do is for the time being, let's change this formula, okay, to this. Let me. Someone asked that how can we set a batch size, and I see Ganesh Sridhar already, sorry, Praveen already answered it. So thank you, Praveen, for the answer. So you can set the batch size somewhere. Wait. Where can you set? There is some place. Okay, here batch size. You can set the batch size here. So let me run the job again. So the folder structure will be different now. Instead of attachments being created in ID folder, every attachment would be created in attachment folder itself. Now the thing is, the COZYROC connector we are using, right? And there are many other connectors available in the market. You don't necessarily need to use a COZYROC. At the end, we are using an SSIS. Okay, so it's up to you which connector you want to use. I love the COZYROC support. So that is the reason most of the time I use it. And if your project is small, you really don't need to purchase it. You can have a trial version. You can just play around it, ask your client if they are agree to purchase. It's just a small amount. If I reduce the batch size, this is going to be faster. So right now what is happening is it is getting all the attachments at the same time. So it sees, okay, so good question here. Some of you might be thinking that, okay, it is showing the 46 rows, but why the number of attachment is just 10? And the reason is the same attachment, this is attached to the multiple records. So it's actually the duplicate files. So instead of creating duplicate file, what we are doing, we are just trying, if you remember this setting, force allow truncation. So basically what it is doing is, if it is a duplicate file, it will just truncate and create a new file back at its place. So that's all. Now what we will do is, so let me go back first on my Salesforce. Okay. And let me see, let's check if I have any attachment. So what I will do is, all the information about the attachment is created in a table. Let's refresh it. So attachment got created. So I will say select star from SFDC attachment, and let's try to capture the parent ID. So this is the parent ID. Let's go back here. Let's try to run. So here, if you see, there are duplicate files here, right? Attachment, shortcuts. So shortcut.txt and file Burlington, Texas is here, textiles is here. But we do have some of the other. So let's say I have Salesforce Ajax toolkit file. So let's do one thing. Let's attach Salesforce Ajax toolkit to this record. Let's see how we can do it. From attachment where name like Ajax. So this is the file, basically Ajax toolkit. What I will do is, I want to upload this file as an attachment, let's say here. So first of all, what I will do is, let's update its parent ID. So what we will do is, I will say update SFDC attachment set parent ID equals to, this is the parent ID we want. So what I'm doing is, I'm uploading attachment now. We successfully downloaded an attachment. Let's see how we can import it. Set parent where I will say, this is the record ID where ID equals to this. So one row got updated. Let's delete all the other row. Delete from SFDC attachment where ID is not equals to this. So basically, I don't want to upload all the attachment. I want to update just one attachment and delete all other entries from here. So 45 records got deleted. If I run the query now, I only have one attachment to be loaded, and it is saying the one attachment name is Salesforce Ajax toolkit.pdf, and we want to load this Salesforce Ajax toolkit.pdf to this parent ID. Okay, so this is a typical case. You have, let's say, attachment in your system, maybe at some file location or maybe somewhere, and you want to upload that attachment into the Salesforce. Now, if you go on the Salesforce, this record in Salesforce has a 4 attachment, but not the Ajax toolkit attachment. So let's say how that is going to work. And I guess this is the last demo of the day. And then we will talk about the best practices. And the best practice is really a very important discussion. So let's create a new package here, and I will rename the package as upload attachments. Now just think about, in this case, so again, I will create one data flow task here. I will say upload attachment, Now think about who is the source this time. Now the source is SQL Server. So we will go back here. The source is edu.net. Again, I don't have any connection manager available here, so I have to create one. I will say new Apex Saturday. I know the table. Table name is attachment. I go on the column. Let's select all the column. We don't really need all the column, but make it simple. And then the next step is, last time we exported the column. So we had a column, we have the file in column tab, and then we exported in the file system. Now this time it is other way around. We have the content in the folder. Now we have to read the Salesforce Ajax toolkit content, which is 234 kilobytes, into a column. So we need to import a column. And how can we do that is, let's go back here. So we had an export column. We also should be having somewhere import column here. Again, like this. So I will double click here on the import column. It is saying input column. So our input column basically is local file path, because this column contains that physically where the file exists. So this is the place, and then input and output. So this is a little bit like trickier. So local file path here, what I will do is I will create an output column here, and its name would be, let's say, file content. So I will say add column. I will say file content. Now remember the lineage ID, which is 80 here. All we have to do, so this is again transformation. How do we read a file in SSIS? You go on this column. We are saying that this column has a path. Load this path into this column, 80 column. Now what is 80 column? File content is a column 80. That's it. So we have imported a column. Now let's do the Salesforce destination. So we will go back here. Salesforce destination, and in the Salesforce destination I have to create a new destination again. Same my Salesforce username and password. Test connection. Perfect. Now the action is create, and we want to create an attachment here. So attachment, I go back on my mapping. Give me a minute here. So in a mapping, all we have to do is the body column in Salesforce. So where do we have a body? So we have a body in file content. So basically what happened is, what SSIS did is, SSIS read this content using import column, and whatever the content was in this file, this content is in this column, file content column. And okay. And let's try to log an error. If there is any logging error, again, what I will do is I will go on AD.NET destination, drag and drop here, cancel. It's not actually destination, it's actually source. sorry, wait, destination. Yeah, it would be destination, my bad. I'm saying redirect row, just I did the last time. And I'm saying let's create a new row this time again, and it would be SFDC. Okay, cancel. I think SFDC attachment log. Again, this time also I don't want a file content because it's a very big column. So just remove the file content for the performance purpose. Go back on mapping. Everything looks good. Fingers crossed. So how do I know if it successfully gets? So what we did is, this file we have only one column. We are saying let's upload this file for this parent ID. If we go on this parent ID, this parent has a 4 attachment. If everything goes fine, I would be able to find the 5th attachment here. And let's run it. Perfect. Seems everything is good. Reload it. And we got our file. That's all. And if I go on view, file content is not interrupted. Sometimes it happens that you upload a file, but you're not able to read the file, but that's not the case here. So that's all for the demo for today. Let's talk a little bit about the best practices. Now, one of the important best practice is, which I would love to discuss. What can anybody tell me on the call? What's something wrong I did in all of my 4 demo? What could have been done better? Not from the SSIS point of view, but as per the best practices we normally do in the Salesforce with the help of custom objects. That's a big hint. Anyone? Why do we use a custom object in Salesforce? Sorry, why do we use a custom setting in Salesforce? Why do we use a custom metadata in Salesforce? Could I have done, I mean, what? So that is the hint. That is something wrong, something not good I did in all of my 4 demo. Can anybody tell me? Unmute your mic. Try it.
Sir, hello.
Yeah, I can listen. Yeah, I can hear.
We use custom settings so that basically we won't have to. Basically, the Salesforce would allow that in connection to happen. It will not block that connection.
Very good. What is your name?
Vidyut.
Thanks, Vidyut. Anyone else want to give a shot? Vidyut is a little bit there. Don't be shy.
So storing the username and passwords in configuration will help in making changes without restarting the package. Is that
Awesome. What's the name of the gentleman?
my name is Ganesh.
Hey Ganesh, thank you so much, man. Yeah, that's exactly the answer here. So the problem what happened here is whenever we do any data loading, so we have hard coded our every information here. So if I go back here on my Salesforce connection, I have hard coded my Salesforce username, I hard coded my password, and I have hard coded the server URL. That's not really a good. Okay, so you don't want to keep changing your package. Okay, for the sandbox, this is the package. For the production, oh, I need to change it. So how do we do that? So Ganesh is exactly on the point. That's exactly why we also use a custom setting and the custom metadata in Salesforce to avoid hard coding. So how can we do that in SSIS as a best practice? All you have to do is go on variable. And so this is right, I right click here, I click on variables. So here we have a variable. What I will do on the variable is I will say add a variable. I will say variable name is SFDC username. And okay, let me delete the variable. I did something not right. I will go on control level. Now I will create a variable. I will say SFDC username. The scope is this package upload attachment. That's fine. Variable data type I'm saying is string, and I'm saying the value is jitendra.jha@gmail.com. Now other important value is this URL. So right now, so it might be the sandbox, it might be the production. So what I will do is I will add a variable here. I will say SFDC server name. I will say string, and I will just paste it here. So now what will happen is The question is, how do we refer this variable in the connection manager? We cannot simply go and say, okay, instead of Jitendra.ja, you have to use SFDC username. All you have to do is right click on property. Here you see the property window appeared. Okay. So in the property window, there is expressions. All you have to do is you have to say in expression server URL should be, and then you have to go back here. You have to select your variable. My variable is SFDC server. Actually, it should not be the server name. It should be server URL. My bad. But let's drag and drop here. Okay. Then also we want to say SFDC somewhere username should be here. Salesforce password, Salesforce server user. Okay, server user is here. Click here and select username here. Say, okay. That's it. So what we just did is we have informed SSIS that whatever the user enter here, forget about it. The username and the server URL would come from the expression setting. And what we did is right click, again property, expressions, and expressions is having, and this expression would appear almost in any component. So if I go back here, if I right click, it's a property here, here also I have an expression. So expression is something not related to the COZYROC. It is something the SSIS functionality where you can configure your variable against that. So now what will happen? So let's say here I go and I remove my username. I say, okay. So let's say I have some wrong username. Okay. Save it. So I just change my, so see, even though I'm changing wrong username, I'm saying okay, but as my correct username is already here as a username, and I have binded that variable with the expression, even though if I'm trying to do anything, Salesforce will always, SSIS will always pick up that information from the variable. That is one of the best practice we should always follow. Now the second is, still there is a problem. Some one of you might argue with me that what does it make difference? Even I configure here or I configure here doesn't make a difference. It's still the hard coding. And I will say that argument is right. It is still a hard coding. I write a username here or I write a username in the variable doesn't make any difference. So the question is, how would it make a difference? Now there are so many options available. Either, so if you are coming from the Java background, you know the concept of resource file. If you are coming from the Salesforce background, you know the custom setting, you know the custom metadata. So the same way what you can do is you can export all these variable outside the package in an XML file, and whenever the package will run, package will read that XML file, upload the variable. If the variable gets updated, your connection manager would get updated. That is a one way. My favorite way, all you can do is you can actually store variable in a database as well. See how that can be done. So first step is you have to make sure that there is no hard coding. Anything you need to have should be here. Then right click here, click on, okay, project SSIS. Let me see, digital signing, variable connection. Give me a minute. So actually this SSIS is not the one where I have worked. So I will say, let's see which Visual Studio version this is. So this Visual Studio, okay. This Visual Studio is 2017. So I will just use a Google. I will say Visual Studio 2017 SSIS package configuration. So the concept I'm talking about is a package configuration. And let's see how it can be done. Variable, everything is good. Project menu, convert to package deployment model. That's what we have to do. This is completely different in other Visual Studio where I have to do. So go on project menu and convert deployment model, it seems this, let's see. Okay, perfect. So what basically we have to do is we have to add a configuration here, and we are saying that source is SQL Server. I will exactly show what I'm talking about. Database I'm saying is, let's say, Epic Saturday. Table name I'm saying we have to, okay, let's skip right now. Let's convert it. Okay, new Visual Studio, new way. Okay, last attempt. Okay, perfect. I was looking for this option, package configuration. In the previous Visual Studio versions like 2015 and all those, this comes as a default, but in 2017 that's an extra step. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm saying enable package configuration. That means the variables or whatever I define here right now will come outside the package, and you don't have to change your code or anything inside the Visual Studio. So what I will do is I'm saying, okay, so it is saying where do you want to save the package. Like I said, you can have the environment variable, you can have an XML configuration, lot of other ways to do it. You can have a registry. I'm saying let's have it in SQL Server, and I'm saying let's use SQL Server connection as, again, this can be also configured. Right now I have not configured this. Everything can be configured. I'm just showing how to configure these two variable. Perfect. Database I'm selecting as Epic Saturday. That's okay. So what I just did is I'm saying that all the configuration would come here. I don't have any configuration right now, so I'm saying let's have SSIS configuration. I hate a space, so I will replace a space by underscore. Okay, and configuration filter is always good to have a configuration filter. So configuration filter, normally I use a name of package. So our package name is upload attachment. So I'm saying upload attachment. Next. So basically it is saying what do you need to configure. So I'm saying I need to configure variables. Do we have variables? Perfect. I have. So now in variable also a lot of things are there. I don't want all the property in the variable to be exported. All I want is value, and even in SFDC username I want a value, and that's next, finish, and close. So let's see exactly what happened. Let me refresh the table. Perfect. Select star from. So exactly see what happened. All my configurations are backed up. So here what is happening? Whatever the value I have provided here would not work because these values are coming from variable. Now even the variable is coming outside. So let me show you something. Let me close it. Now variable was jitendra.ja. Let me change the variable to some other username. So I'm saying update SSIS configuration. I'm saying set configured value equals to my other username. Let's say I love Nagpur. @gmail.com, and where I'm saying package path equals to. So I have just changed. So basically it happens like that in sandbox you have a different username. In production you have a different username. Because of just username you don't want to change, because right now what happen is 4 packages has my username and password. I have to go each package one by one, manually changing the username password. You don't know what else accidentally you might change. So it's always better to have configuration outside. So if I run here, just check, I have changed my username to I love Nagpur. Now here in the variable the username was jitendra.ja. Let's try, and it's upload attachment project. So I go on upload attachment. Let's see what happens. It is opening the file. My variable is I love Nagpur. Now I have set it up outside the SSIS. Let's go on variable section, and here you go, my variable now showing I love Nagpur. If I go my connection manager, it is showing me I love Nagpur. So that's what exactly is the best practice. That's a configuration you can have, and this is just an example of 2 parameters. You can have n number of parameters like this. Another one very important is logging. Again, the logging can be any type of the logging. I normally like an XML file logging, and then all you can do is you have to add the logging here. You have to select this logging, and then wait, to configure unique logging option, consider enabling logging for it in the tree view. Okay, I have enabled the logging. We really don't need all the logging, otherwise your file would be verbose, not readable. What I will do is I normally log my warnings. I log if something task failed, and you have to create a new connection. Logging, you want where you want to create a log. You can say, okay, create a new file. You can specify the address of the location of the file, and that's all. Done. Okay. What will happen if any error occurs or the level of logging you want, it would be automatically logged into an XML. So that's all. So these are the 2 best practices which you must always use with an SSIS. Let me say, so we did talk about the best practices. We did have our demo. These are some references. Of course, the recording of this session would be posted online, and Amit will be sharing that. Now it's time for Q&A. If anyone have any question, please feel free to ask. Again, this session is not to say that SSI is better, is talent, or talent is better, or Pentaho is better. It's just for your knowledge purpose that okay, something like SSI does exist, which you could consider as a data load migration project. Most of the time it happens that your database or the old system exists in SQL Server. For example, Microsoft Dynamics, that's an SQL Server. For example, Siebel sometimes is an SQL Server. So normally what we do, we export something from SQL Server, then we use a data loader, then we use a Jitterbit or some other tool. Now the thing is, why do you need a data loader or a Jitterbit if you can simply use some connectors like the COZYROC? It will make your life a lot easier. Okay, anyone, any question? I'm here. Either everybody understood everything or nothing.
Jitendra, can we integrate Salesforce and QuickBook Desktop using SSID?
QuickBook, very good question. So personally, I have never worked on the QuickBook, but let's see if we have a QuickBook connector available here. I see Dynamics connector available. I see ClickView. Yeah, QuickBooks. This one, right? You're talking about?
Yeah, QuickBook. Is it a QuickBook Desktop or like QuickBook Online? Actually, we have to integrate Salesforce and QuickBook Desktop.
Let me see if I go on QuickBook. I have never worked on the QuickBook, so I really don't know the difference. But let's say if we go on the QuickBook source, it is asking me for the connection. I am really not sure. You need to little bit explore. I do see something as a QuickBook source and the destination, but I'm not sure if it's a desktop or the cloud version. But something is there. You can simply go download the COZYROC trial version. Okay. If you are a Mac user, like I said, just go on Amazon AWS. It will just take a seconds to spin up your virtual machine there and do all this stuff there. You don't really need to spoil your current system if you are not a .NET developer. And just
So
try to.
can we like automate these processes using batch? Like, can we?
Awesome. For
Yeah.
sure, man. For sure. We have done that. All you have to do is export. So basically, when you export the package, right, you save it. It's saved as a binary file. And there are a lot of internet tool available. So example, okay, run SSIS package from command line. See, that's came here. There are a lot of tools available in the market. It will show you how to run your packages. And then as you can run from the command line, you can schedule it nightly, hourly on desktop, something like that.
That is cool.
Yep. Okay, so I think we are done for a day. Thank you so much everyone for giving your weekend time. Even Saturday morning or Saturday evening is really some important commitments we have, but I'm pretty sure we all learned something new together. And thank you so much, Amit, for organizing this. If you have any question or anything, let me know. You can follow me on Twitter, or you can post something on my website. Once I get some chance, I will take my best to answer the question.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Jitendra, for such a great session, and thank you everyone for joining us. So I hope I will upload this particular recording in our Salesforce Apex Hour YouTube channel soon, and I will upload the PPT as well.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone.
Thanks everyone. Yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you.